A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Survival of No Limits. And guess what? This one's going to be a little bit special at this point in time. But here we go. We got ourselves number 74 in the season, which is basically going to be me talking a little bit about shelters themselves. And yeah, this is certainly quite an occasion for me to talk a little bit about this, because as you know, there's been a lot of things going around that are still circulating about the pandemic as it is. But let's go on ahead and talk a little bit about this anyways. Shelters are, without a doubt, one of the most important resources that you can have during an apocalypse, by any means. What they have to do with survivability is, simply put, they are a necessity by any means. Shelter is by no means a necessity across the board, no matter what kind of thing you're having in life. Having a place to live is certainly one of the biggest things to have if you were to protect yourself from such things like extreme winds, cold, cloudy weather, high-end radiation from ultraviolet, X-ray, and solar winds themselves, rays of all sorts, or many other things out there. Whether it be nature, it be machinery, or it basically be anything that could be nearby that would want to kill you. Having a shelter would certainly be very helpful in protecting yourself against anything that could potentially take you out in an instant. But for the most part, we tend to leave our so-called shelters to explore the vast, never-ending landscape that's around us, as it is in fact a trait that's existent in all humans. It's without a doubt that our shelters are not necessarily the best places to call home, but in fact the entire planet itself happens to be a vast array of different opportunities and global exploration that we can certainly utilize to the best of our advantages until the day that we die and the end of time comes by. But in all cases, it's still worthy to note that across the board we're going to have a lot of things that we will potentially be experiencing in the next several decades. Our shelters, our homes, our housing, apartment complexes, shacks, outhouses, anything that we could potentially use to our advantage that would help in preventing any sort of catastrophic failure of any sorts. But for the most part, not every shelter is deemed safe enough to prevent everything from happening. Certain open structures, for example, would still be very prone to such things, including high winds from a tornado or a hurricane, to gigantic phases of lightning bolts from thunderstorms or lightning storms of any sorts. And then of course you got to worry about flames that could potentially be coming by from wildfires or potentially pyromaniacs. And then let's not forget that we're also going to have to worry about Mother Nature setting in, allowing vines and brambles, bushes, and other things to grow around. Open structures are certainly not necessarily at the best point in terms of sheltering yourself from potentially anything that could prove to be dangerous. Well, then again, we still only have a limited amount of options available by any means. Igloos, teepees, canopies, tents for camping, and many other things are also not necessarily meant to be as effective as a regular house that had been professionally built by structural engineers or any sort of designer who knows about a professional sort of shelter that would be helpful in preventing anything from getting to you in a matter of seconds. So with that in mind, I guess there's just not much else left to point out about that. But then again, we're also going to have to look forward to what else could be coming in at any point in time. But until that happens, if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.